Last thing would be roads and transportation. We've focused a lot in Charlotte on light rails and streetcar studies and north lines to Mooresville and up north, but we've neglected our roads here in Charlotte. Charlotte has a $12 billion road shortage. $12 billion. Now, if I were a tax and spend liberal, I would say, we don't have to worry about that. We'll let the next generation take care of that $12 billion problem. We'll pass the buck. But I say, no. We need to tackle that problem now so that our $12 billion problem doesn't become a $24 billion problem a generation from now. I think that the roads that we drive on should not, the quality of the roads we drive on should not be reflective of the median income of the neighborhood through which we drive. You drive down some roads in Charlotte, and I know you've been on them, Monroe, parts of 3rd Street. You drive down some of these roads, and you feel like you're back in the Old West on a rickety stagecoach. We need to widen, resurface, and build more roads here in Charlotte. So those are the three things I'm campaigning for, and then I don't want to take too much of y'all's time, but there's three principles that I feel really guide my actions and where I stand on issues, and I'd like to share those with you, if you don't mind, a few more minutes at a time. One is fiscal conservatism. The government at every level, whether it's local, state, or federal, needs to remember that every dollar it spends comes out of someone's pocketbook, someone's purse. Every dollar. So the government should always be the best stewards of the people's money. Should be better stewards and have better accounting practices than any firm in town. Secondly, there it is. Limited. Sorry. You don't always get used to speaking in front of big crowds, by the way, okay? Sometimes it kind of doesn't hit you in reality. Limited government. And I'm going to use my diagram that I always use, and some of you guys have seen me use it before. If you imagine your personal freedoms and liberties as a pie chart, right? And if it's completely filled up, and you've got all your personal responsibilities and liberties, your freedoms, but we can't quite have that. That's anarchy. You have to have some government in there to regulate certain things. So we give some power to the government. But the question is how much do we give? Do we give the government a lot, in which case our personal freedoms diminish in an inverse relationship, or do we diminish the size of government and giving ourselves more liberties? Because here's the thing. Every time we say to the government, whether it's city, state, or local, we say, you know what, I don't want to deal with this issue anymore. You guys can take care of it. Then we're out. We have no more say-so in the matter. We decided to give the government too much power, and so now we find ourselves today lacking many of the freedoms that our forefathers enjoyed generations before. It's because we no longer want to be responsible for those things, and we choose to give them to the government, which ties directly into my third one, which is personal responsibility. We each need to be responsible for our actions and be accountable for what we do. That impacts our public safety. That impacts how good our kids do in school. We need to be the best parents we can and tutor. It impacts our future generations, whether we're coaching little leagues or softball teams and things like that. Every day we need to do something to better ourselves and better our communities. Now, I know that sounds so collective and liberal. It's really not. That is a fundamentally conservative principle, that we have accountability for ourselves, accountability for government. The Boy Scout motto, do a good turn daily. That's not just a good motto for when you're 10, 14, 16 years old. I mean, what, by the time you turn 18, do a good turn daily no longer applies? No. It's applicable every day of our lives to do something good to better ourselves and our community. And I think that is a core principle of the conservative foundation, that I think we've overlooked in recent years. So anyways, those are three things three principles that are guiding my actions and my philosophies on government. I appreciate the time you guys gave me to come out here and say a few words. I just want to also wrap up with, some of you guys have heard me say it before. It's my favorite quote, and I think it's so applicable in the day and age in which we live, and that is that Samuel Adams, my favorite founding father, it does not take a majority to prevail, but rather a small, tireless minority intent on lighting brush fires of freedom in the minds of men. Powerful, powerful words. Chew on them for a second. It doesn't take a majority to prevail, but rather a small, tireless minority intent on lighting brush fires of freedom in the minds of men. What we have right here, in contrast to the rest of Charlotte, is a minority. But I say we are a small, tireless minority intent on lighting those brush fires of freedom in the minds of men. And we're going to do that here in Charlotte, and we're going to do that in Raleigh, and by God, we're going to do it in D.C. Thank you very much.